Good morning. Good morning. Good afternoon, I guess it is. So today we're going to speak about relationships again, and it's interesting because I mean it's a it's a touchy subject, isn't it? It's one that many of us have struggled with, and what comes to me, I was chatting with a fellow yesterday, a young fellow in his 30s or late 30s probably, and he was really going through it in his relationship journey with his spouse, and they'd recently married and have a young child, and it's he in his opinion he's living in hell. He really is, and so I've heard that from so many men. I have heard that from, hundreds of men, and I want to suggest that from my own personal experience, uh, uh, I entered into the idea of a long-term creative relation or long-term relationship as an immature man. I a number of times, maybe always, and I had this idea of a relationship that had been developed as a child, and it had been developed in my particular case in an atmosphere where my family was a dysfunctional relationship. My mom and dad didn't get along, and there wasn't a lot of love in our home between them, and so I didn't have a picture of that, and it showed in my family, all the way through, except for a few cases. I have a couple of brothers who seem to have, grown up to an extent where they could be in a long-term committed relationship, excuse me. So my idea had been skewed of what that was going to be like, and so mostly I was looking for what I could get in a relationship. So I was never really honest. But I didn't know that I wasn't being honest. I just didn't have another picture of it. Much like and this is just an aside, but my idea around God and around was put together as a child. I had a childish idea of a Sunday school idea of a relationship with a higher power of creator, and well, the same thing in relationship. I had a child's idea of being in a relationship. So here I was in a man's body, and I remember I got married when I was like 24, and we were having a baby very soon, and um, you know how that happens, and well, I wasn't ready. I didn't know. I was a child myself in all my perceptions, and so here I was, married to a lady who maybe also wasn't ready to be in a long-term committed relationship. So there was a lot of disharmony, and there was a lot of anger and expectations that were unmet, and it was difficult. It was really a difficult experience, and so we often we chalk those up to learning, kind of. Some people say, well, that was your starter marriage, and but it was painful, and we had two children, and thank God, the two of us have grown up quite a bit since, and we've been able to be more of a positive influence on our kids, but there we were, really children having children, and trying to manage playing house without any real idea of how to do it, and so. Uh, I guess that where do we get to in relating is the same as where we get to in, say, in recovery. As many of you know, I'm in recovery many years from addiction, and my main problem in my life as an addict and an alcoholic was that I was selfish and self-centered. Well, that was the same in my relating. I was selfish and self-centered. It was what about me, and so I had to grow up to a level where I recognized that it wasn't about me, and that I was part of a whole, and that I was here to serve in a bigger way and to make a difference in the world. And what could I give as opposed to what was in it for me? And a complete change of context, a fundamental shift had to happen for me to be in a relating. And then the exciting thing that has happened is that I don't need to be. I'm not saying that it wouldn't, that I'm not open to being in, but most of my life, as in my 20s and 30s and 40s, I was terrified to be alone. And, so I was in relatings always to get, to fill in that space for me. And so if you're looking at your relationship and you're saying, what the hell am I going to do here? This is my second or third divorce type of thing. The solution really starts with us individually, on our perspective on life and our expectations. And we start to have that shift. We really have to look at ourselves. Know thyself. We really have to look at ourselves and see that, we've had an attitude or a concept of a relationship that was childish, and to grow up and find out who we are in the relating, and be clear about what we can give and share, and looking at our expectations. And it's being together can work. The idea of a relationship, even in the beginning, is difficult if we get to this place of living in the moment, because living in the moment, there is no ship. The ship is a vehicle in time. A relationship is a vehicle in time, and when we're present in love, then we're really there, present in love, and we're not there, keeping score. I took the garbage out and I mowed the lawn and I did the dishes, and it's not about that. We're there in love in each moment. And as time passes, we look back and we recognize that we've been with somebody for a long time, but it's been there in love. So it's a different perspective, I guess. So that's my message a little bit on relating. And if you ever have, what I'd like is your comments. How's it working for you in relating? And go to my YouTube video and watch that and see. This is my whole idea here, is to just kind of to tweak you and me too, to do this so that we can bring on some questions. Where am I in this scenario? And often, we've been through several relatings, let's say, and we go back and we're really doing the same thing over and over again, looking for different results. And so we're addicted to the idea that somebody's going to be that Mr. Right, or somebody's going to be that Mrs. Right, and if there's going to be a Mr. Right, it's you, right? If there's going to be a Mrs. Right, it's you, it's not them. And so we really, and of course, it's dangerous territory, because we have we release all of the dopamine and oxytocin and all of the stuff that happens when we meet somebody. The excitement of the first 6 months. Where all of a sudden, you're 60 and you feel like you're 18, and it's you're on a chemical high, and so it's hard to think and be present in that high. So there's having support for men, having men in their life that they can, that are mature men that can help them to be mature in the situation. The same with women. Have your girlfriends, and so that you can be mature in the situation. And I think those are important things. Maybe a little old-fashioned, but I think that's important. So that's my little talk on relating. Love to hear your comments. And yeah, that's it. So I'm going to read. I've been reading the last few days, or for a couple of months this has taken to get through this. I've been reading from the Tao Te Ching, and I just love this book. And it's a It's a high vibration book. It really is. It's all based on the Tao, which is the now, which is God, which is, you know, this is it. We are that. So chapter 53, which is only 2 paragraphs, says the great way is easy, yet people prefer the side paths. Be aware when things are out of balance. Stay centered within the Tao. You know, our breath brings us into the Tao, into the now. When rich speculators prosper while farmers lose their land, when government officials spend money on weapons instead of cures, when the upper class is extravagant and irresponsible while the poor have nowhere to turn, all this is robbery and chaos. It is not in keeping with the Tao, the now, love. So get this little book and have it on your counter, and you know, there's just, these are really short, and they bring us into the moment. They're very thought-provoking. They're inspiring, and yeah, I hope you like that that I read this every day. Anyway, love you guys, and yeah, relating. How's it going? You know, um, you know, a sign that we've really compromised in relationship, that we've tried to get. Compromise is always us trying to get, is how resentful or angry you are at the end of it. So if you've been in a relating and you're still mad at that guy, it's us that didn't tell our truth. We compromised. We tried to get. So be honest, you know, and if it takes some time to find that honesty within you, you know, that's okay. Just take the time to find it, what it is, who you're going to be in the relating. Okay, love you guys. Thank you. Have a great day.